Is this a unique update when it comes to Zebec? Well, personally for me, I think about it that way. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, Zebec's apparently going to be in Switzerland soon. Because they're going to be at Davos, Switzerland. And by the way, I've been to Switzerland twice, but I'm just saying, besides that point, from January 19th to the 21st, they supposedly are going to be at the World Economic Forum. I mean, we got to think about this. The World Economic Forum, Zebec's going to be there? That's pretty impressive, in my mind, at least, because we got to think about this. Zebec's not the biggest project out there. It doesn't have the best track record. It hasn't even been around the longest. But then we take a look at this right here. However, of course, I'm totally aware that Zebec's not the only one, but still, it's pretty impressive considering the sort of scale that Zebec is in as of right now. Like, this is not that easy. This is my perspective. So when I take a look at Zebec doing this, I find it to be pretty unique. They didn't have to do it, I guess, but they're still doing it. So I do like that because we have to think about the scale of something like this. When it comes to Zebec, especially for a project like that that's focused on global trade and finance, I think something like this does matter. Because imagine Zebec now that it has an aspect of ISO 20022. Now that we see what Zebec is trying to do with things like World Mobile, for instance, or like let's say we take a look at, for instance, the partnership that they had with Algorand. I think all of this type of stuff could hypothetically matter because it adds to the resume of something like Zebec. And I think at the World Economic Forum now, with the improved resume that I think they have currently as opposed to before, it adds a little bit more substance. It adds a little bit more credibility. So when Simon, the CEO, maybe when he's there or something like that, if he's talking with other individuals, he can say, right, hey, take a look at what Zebec did. ISO 20022 compliance. Take a look at the partnership with Algorand. Take a look at, for instance, what they're planning to do moving forward. Take a look at how supposedly they have over 200 payroll enterprise clients. You know, I think sometimes stuff like that does matter. People sometimes care about the track record of a project, right? The supposed resume. It's like, for instance, I want to eat at a restaurant. I'm going to take a look at the reviews. This is the way you take a look at it. Who knows if it's going to be correct, but at least I take a look at the reviews. But besides that as well, though, Zebec having an aspect also of Solana, right? They can also say, hey, you know what? Solana Ventures, it's a backer when it comes to Zebec. Also on top of that, Circle, they're also a backer when it comes to Zebec. They can say all this. So I think that it's a good thing that Zebec's doing this right now. Or planning to, I should say. Because I feel like now they have a little bit more sort of substance as opposed to before. But besides that, though, Zebec overall, all I can do actually is just wait. This is all I can do because, of course, there's a pullback as of right now. Altcoins, a slight pullback again, but it's the altcoin space. What can I do about it? The only thing I can do is stay patient. But I'm just sticking with my original plan. It hasn't changed, by the way. It's still the same. Not telling anyone to do anything, but I just dollar cost average once a month. That's it. Because I just kind of thought to myself, why would I stress myself out by caring about the charts every single day? You know, that's just gonna make me stressed out. I don't really want to do that. Personally, I look at the news, I take a look at the updates, and I take a look at the space overall, of course. However, I'm not like obsessed with the charts and looking at it every 5 or 10 minutes. No, that's not my style. What I do is that, you know, of course, I'll look at it overall, but I think about it more so of a long-term thing, not just, oh, you know, what's it going to do in a week? That's it. No, this is not what I'm doing. But I kind of knew that getting into it. It's like, for instance, if I run a marathon, I know it's not going to be a sprint, right? I know it's going to be more of a long distance type of thing. But I knew that getting into it. So this is why I treat it more like a marathon. It's not a sprint to me. This is why, personally, I'm not like complaining. Like I see some other individuals out there, they constantly complain about Zebec and all this, and it's totally, I mean, their choice, right? I mean, like, I can't control anyone. But personally for me, I knew that the journey is not just going to be smooth sailing. I personally knew that. Did I know exactly what's going to happen? No, but I know it's not going to be smooth sailing. So this is why when I take a look at Zebec, if I knew that getting into it, I'm not going to complain if something I kind of already sort of preemptively anticipated happens. It's like, for instance, imagine me running a marathon and I'm angry that I got tired. It's like, it's a marathon. What else did I expect was going to happen? For me not to feel tired? Of course I'm not going to expect that. I'm going to expect to be tired. But then I can't be angry or upset if I feel tired because I chose to voluntarily run the marathon. It's like, for instance, when it comes to Zebec, I didn't have to be in this, right? Even if someone told me to do it, I'm making the decision myself. But I voluntarily chose to be in this space. And personally, I'm not going to complain if there's some hiccups along the way because I kind of knew that it's not going to be a smooth sailing type of thing. But also, Zebec as well, being in Switzerland, I think it's pretty impressive considering how, again, a lot of other projects out there, they treat stuff like this like, whatever, they don't care. They just think, okay, we'll focus on just relaxing or not caring. However, I think Zebec is putting the time, the energy, and the effort to do this, which I find pretty impressive. Could you imagine going to Switzerland, the hotel fees, the travel, all this type of stuff, right? Eating out, because I've been to Switzerland twice. It's not like I just walk to the beach. You know what I mean? I have to fly there and all this type of stuff. It takes time, energy, effort, resources. So when I take a look at something like this, I like the dedication when it comes to Zebec because at least they're willing to travel to kind of maybe, right, improve the project. Who knows? If there's new collaborations, if more people hear about Zebec, why not, right? It's like a networking type of thing. So again, I don't see why not. And keep in mind, Zebec anyways, I don't think runs such a sort of inefficient operation to begin with because we have to consider Zebec has over 20 members, right? The last time I checked. But we have to consider that's spread out throughout San Francisco, London, and as well as New York. That's not such a massive team. Other projects of this size, their team is like in the hundreds. But for what? Sometimes that's my kind of question. That's why I see some other projects out there saying, they're going to be, reducing their team, or let's say they say, we're experiencing this or that. Well, who told them to have a massive operation to begin with? Like, I think Zebec from the get-go realized that we don't need such a massive operation, right? It's more so the product that speaks for itself. We don't need a lot of team members just to randomly say that we have it, because I feel like a lot of other projects out there, they want to have a lot of team members just for the sake of it, just to kind of show off sometimes. But really, in the grand scheme of things, that adds up. Could you imagine the ongoing monthly cost, the annual cost? It's a lot, Hiring one individual, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 200, that adds up eventually. And especially if the market isn't doing the best, that's going to really catch up, right? It'd be different if the market kept doing good, then okay, maybe more hiring, right? Or keep the same amount. But if there's a big team, the market's not doing the best. We see some other projects out there, they kind of gave up. But what I like about Zebec is that it's more well equipped to handle market slumps, right? It's more equipped to handle when things are not doing the best because it's more so of a lean operation. So I kind of like that type of vibe. But besides that point, though, I'm aware that 10 cents, we're around 32 times lower than that. But you know what? It's still a thought in my mind. I'll see what happens when it comes to ZBCN, but I just haven't given up. But in the meantime, though, I like what I saw recently when it comes to Zebec. And I want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a very nice day. It's been Lee the Captain.